Nano Banana 2 just landed inside of Firefly, and the first thing I did was build this guy. Let me show you how I've done this and walk you through my process inside of Adobe Firefly, the sponsor of today's video. Let's dive in and take a look. Now, one of the things with Nano Banana 2 is we can now start building characters and creating them more consistently inside of Firefly using Nano Banana 2. So what I've got here is I've got my character brief that I kind of put together. I built this using Claude, but you can use whichever platform or whichever process you want. So that's kind of like the character kind of like brief that I did. And then I kind of like asked it to create this character using that. So if I just click load, we can see here I've actually just put my prompt in here. We select the partner model, we've chosen Nano Banana 2, and then we've just clicked generate. And then what it's done is it's actually created this view of like the side view, the front view, and the back view of this character. And that kind of like will help us kind of like build up a consistent looking character. This is the way I've been using it. And then I thought to myself, how can we actually start testing this and putting this character inside of like real world environments? So I've got this picture of me where I was on stage at a recent Adobe event. It's an Adobe Ambassador Summit. And you can see here, what I've actually done is I've actually been able to extend this out, and it's actually created a really good version of this where we've got this character on stage with me. And if I click on load on this, you can see what we've done is we've selected the kind of like the reference images of the character. So that's the front view, side view, and the back view of the character. And I said, add this cartoon character in image 1 to the image in scene 2. The character is sitting on a stool watching the person on stage. And we can see here what this has actually done is actually created this character sitting on stage inside of what is looking like a real world environment. And you can see there now what we can do is start putting this character kind of like inside of real world environments, but that's not all. There's a lot more to this. What I chose to do, if I scroll down here, is I started kind of like creating different kind of like scenes. So I wanted this character laughing and drinking coffee. I wanted to put it inside of another environment. So you can see here, use a reference image to show the character drinking coffee, and it's kind of like put it inside of this real world environment. And it's kind of like recognize the characteristics of the cartoon character that we've got here and kind of like put it inside of this kind of like environment and start playing about with it. And you can see here, I'm kind of like teasing here where we've got another little character that I've built. I'm going to show you how you can start adding characters and putting them inside of real world environments. But you can see here what we've got actually, if I click on load on this one, we started creating a video. Now I've used VO 3.1 for this one. For this one, I also chose VO 3.1. But what I started doing was actually adding this character into real world environments. And I started playing about with it and kind of like, there's this picture of me where I was in my hotel room, and I kind of like wanted to put the character on the bed. So if I click on load again here, using Nano Banana 2, I've chosen the reference image of the cartoon character and asked it to kind of like put it peeking from behind me. This one I prefer, but you can see it's actually started creating a really kind of like consistent look and feel to this character inside of Nano Banana here. Now, I kind of thought to myself, this guy needs a little friend, I thought, and that's where then I created this guy. So again, I went through, created a whole character brief and started thinking about what this character would look like and things like that. And then again, I used the same prompts and put this guy on stage with me. And you can see here, it's extended that stage really well. And, you know, we're going to ignore the text up here, but it started putting this character on stage in this real world environment. You can see if I just wanted to kind of like keep that its original size, you can see you can start doing that. But you know, you kind of like, you get the idea. And if I click on load on this, you can see what I've done is I've used Nano Banana 2. I've used exactly the same prompts as I did putting the other character on stage with me. And you can see here, it's also on this version, it added a cartoon stool where this character is actually starting to kind of like start to be inside of those real world environments. and you know, it's even got like shadows down here of this kind of like character, and you can start building those up. And again, I put this one in using the same prompts. So if I click on load on this prompt again here, you can see add the character behind me from, you know, using the reference images into the other image that I've got there. And there you can see we can now start building up these characters inside of real world environments. So we've done two different characters, but what about if we want to put both those characters into a scene? Now I did hint at this a minute ago, but let's dive in and show you that side. And here we are, we've now got these two different characters inside of these environments. So I kind of like started building up these, and if I just click load on one of these, we can see that what I've done is I've actually chosen the two kind of like reference kind of like templates, if you like, for these, and then started to ask it to put these inside of real world environments. And if I click load on these other ones, you can see I've chosen and started playing them out with different prompts that we can do. But using those two like style sheets, if you like, we can actually now start putting those two recognizable characters inside of a scene. And again, on this one, I kind of like started asking it, like some of them started to like look a little bit like not like they were the cartoon. So I kind of like figured out that what I actually need to do is start saying to this, like, keep them in their cartoon form. I want it in a real world environment, but I want the actual characters to remain as cartoons. So that's kind of like where you can see me developing the prompts and the different styles that we're kind of like looking at here. And, you know, we kind of like start playing about with like different prompt ideas. And again, if I click on load, we can see we're using Nano Banana 2 at the top here and using those different reference style images and just coming up to see what those look like. Now, once we've got an image or a scene that we like and we're really happy with, we've now got some new video models also inside of Adobe Firefly. We've got Pika 2.2. So you can see here, I can start playing about with those. And, you know, I kind of like started asking it to animate the characters causing chaos. We've got Kling 2.5 Turbo. So you can see here again, just using the same prompt, seeing what those come out like. And we've also got Ray 3.14. And we've also got Ray 3.14 HDR as well. As you can see here, we can only access that through the actual generate model here, but we can see we've got 3.14, which allows us to generate 4K, and also we can choose to actually, if you choose Ray 3.14, it's all confusing a little bit sometimes, isn't it? Ray 3.14, it actually allows us to generate up to a 10-second clip using those partner models inside of Adobe Firefly. This is just me just playing about with these characters. This is kind of like first generation of these. You know, there's a lot of kind of like prompts that you can kind of like start playing about with and changing and testing until you come up with the actual scene that you want. But you can see even from these first kind of like generation ideas, the consistency of this character between each scene that we're creating is a lot more consistent, and we can also put in there multiple characters and start building those real world environments, or those environments for our characters to start being animated inside of. Now, I do have one more thing that I want to say, and that is if you are a Lightroom user, we do also now have the option of Topaz generative upscale. So we can see now we can use generative, or using Topaz Gigapixel, we can now upscale an image up to 4K inside of there, and that's because I've already upscaled that one. That's why that didn't come up. So if I go up to photo and then go to generative scale, we can see we can upscale this by 2 times or 4 times, and you can see there what it's going to cost us in credits. Click upscale and it's going to upscale our photographs inside of Lightroom. So whether you're Firefly building characters or whether you're a photographer, there's a lot of new partner models inside of Adobe. If you want to check them out, I'll put some links down below for you to check those out. If you've got any questions, drop me in the comments section and I will come back to you with those questions that you have in there. And until next time, thank you very much and bye for now.